wanted to talk about DPs. DPs, especially in the context of LA, Los Angeles, Compton, Watts, what they mean here in LA County, because it's been a trending topic the last several weeks. The first dude that I can remember that actually spoke about a DP was Snoopy BadAzz, who said he had to run 4 fades for saying something negative about the West Side Pyrus. And then C-Mac, Crip Mac from 5-5 Neighborhood Crip, he had to run some fades because he said something negative about a whole bunch of stuff on a Facebook post from like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the DP in and of itself? Because it's really your own homies are beating you up for a violation.
Right. It's disciplinary action based on a violation that you committed. It's different levels, different forms of DPs. And the strange thing about it is to hear it, the reason why people haven't heard it or, it's not been spoken out loud is because the DPs usually don't be mentioned. It's in-house discipline, you handle it, you get it done, you know what I mean? And it's nothing you broadcast. It's nothing that you're proud of. For one, you're not proud of it because whatever the homie did, it wasn't a proud moment. It was in violation of the code that was set forth in your neighborhood, and you guys had to handle it. And but now, since like you said, you have the internet, you have public figures speaking about it, and to me, it take a, to be honest with you, it take a real man to even discuss that, he had to be DP'd or, disciplinary action was took upon him for a violation, so I do respect the dudes who speak on it, but normally they not spoken upon, they just get handled,
So really, it's nothing that someone should really be embarrassed about, right? Maybe they might be embarrassed about what they actually did to get the DP,
right?
But the DP itself is not something to make fun of somebody, because that's what it's supposed to be.
No doubt. You know what I mean? And like I say, I've administered a few DPs and been around a few, and then at the same time, like I say, this is your homeboy. This is a friend of yours. This is something that you're not proud to see. You know what I mean? You're more mad about the violation, but yet and still you're more mad about the DP itself. And then the way some of the DPs work, because like I said, I have administered a few, and the look on one of the homies' faces, because you never know who's going to have to step up to do the disciplinary action. When your name is called, you have to just make it happen. And I'm sure some of the homies would not want to participate. You know what I mean? But like I told one homie before, this DP might save your career, because without it, you could just, be alienated from the whole Paru. You know what I mean? So the DP can save your career because you messed up.
Now, can a DP go wrong though? Like a little bit too over the top, a little bit too excessive, too brutal in some instances?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, the last couple that I've been around went a little too far. That resulted in both of them going to the hospital. You know what I mean? But at the same time, when you talking about two people, basically trying to smash you for your violation, it's hard. You know what I mean? And all it takes is one wrong move or one, wrong hit, you can end up with a broken jaw, busted eye socket. I mean, things can go wrong, but at the same time, it's also meant to deter you from doing it again as well.
Now, have you ever seen a DP where the dude that was getting DP'd was actually holding his own against the two dudes that was, I know sometimes it could be 3 dudes. Let's just say in this example, there's 2 guys DPing one guy, but the one guy is actually holding his own against the 2 guys.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. You know what I mean? Firsthand, and to the point to where a third guy had to be called in, and it's on the inside, it's a proud moment as well, because these are the homies. These are family members. These are, some of your best friends, dudes who have your back. So at the same time, he might need to be violated, but when he holding it down like that, you also, know that he ain't no buster either. He just messed up, So I'm over here got a little smirk on my face because I'm visually picturing, the last time this happened, and sometimes, don't get me wrong, I have to reiterate that the right person has to administer a DP. So I'm not sitting here saying that, my involvement in DPs is something to be proud of or something to brag about because they aren't. But sometimes if the wrong person is administering, it can go very wrong. You know what I mean? And it's because, like I had a DP before where another dude wanted to jump in because his brother was a part of it. You know what I mean? You know, and hold on, homie. You know what I mean? You wasn't called. You know what I mean? Yeah, your brother getting a little something, but you know, that's what it is. So, you know, you have all sort of situation, and if you're not in control of this total situation, I mean, it could easily just get out of hand, very out of hand, you know. So that's why sometimes a OG homie, you know, that'll come around and do it. The respect is there for it to go exactly as planned, you know. So that is very important when it comes to DPs.
So you basically have to have a good referee.
Exactly.
That's present.
Exactly. You know, opposed to a couple DPs, one DP we seen recently that, in my opinion, wasn't a DP. It was basically, dude, you got jumped. You know what I mean? And you took it on the chin and you manned up, but at the same time, that wasn't a DP to me. You know what I mean? Opposed to Snoopy BadAzz spoke on his own, so I'll speak on it, you know, and I know have firsthand knowledge of that DP, you know, because that did happen in Compton, so I had firsthand knowledge of it. That, you know, he ran fades as a former DP. It's not even always two people on it. You know what I mean? Some DPs are just really, you know, depending on how bad the violation, and Snoopy BadAzz violation was more verbal. You know, he said something about somebody that he might have wanted to take back, but it wasn't like he stole something or robbed one of the homies or, you know, something like that. You know, beat up somebody's little sister. It wasn't that bad. So him was able to run those fades, you know, I thought whoever came up with that plan, I thought whoever was in charge and ran that, they ran that well, you know what I mean? And like he said, you know, he took his on the chin. He fought with 4 dudes, you know, and he accepted his responsibility that, you know, but I guarantee you he'll be careful because that's what DPs do. They make you mindful to not to do that shit again, you know.
Now the way he explained his DP is that he ran 4 separate fades against one person each, and they made sure they put their best fighters in front of them and their biggest ones. So he had to run 4 basically 4 one-on-one fights in a row. And I know that would be, it's exhausting after one.
Oh, no doubt.
So you running 4 of them. By the 4th one, he's getting his ass whooped, basically.
No doubt. You know what I mean? And I've been in that situation, not a DP situation at all, but a situation where I ran a fade with 3 dudes, you know, and I said something disrespectful when I was in state prison to this one guy, but you got to think some of these other neighborhoods have the same name, you know what I mean? Like, say if you have, I'm gonna just use an example like say the neighborhood Crips, or you know, and this one neighborhood, you not thinking that, hold on, these the such and such neighborhoods and these the such and such neighborhoods, you know what I mean? So I dissed a dude from one section, and there was other dudes from different parts of town, but they ran under that same name, you know, and I ran 3 squabs with them, and I should have fought the dude I fought last, I should have fought first, you know, because I was tired, you know. So for him to run 4, you know, I ain't gonna lie, he had to be exhausted. You know, he had to be shook up from the first 2 or 3, you know, and to be honest with you, in that situation, you know, with nothing but respect that he went over there, you know, and handled that like that, to be honest with you.
And he's admitted that he ain't the best squabbler, he ain't the hardest fighter, but the fact that he pulled up, what does that mean?
To me, it mean a lot. Pulled up, because they didn't pull up to you. You know what I mean? Because you're in the, if they pull up, you're in a situation where you don't have a choice. He went over there and accepted his responsibility like a man, you know, and that's hard, no matter how good you fight or don't fight, you know what I mean? And he got out there and squad, you know what I mean? So what somebody else may be looking at, you know, who you know, had the most punches in, that's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking for a man get up there, he run his fade, win, lose, or draw. He stepped in there and he stood his ground as a man, you know, and I respect that more than anything. It's not even about if he technically, you know, won. You know what I mean? It's about if he had the heart to get in there squab and stay in there squab until that fade was over. And that's with any fight for me. You know what I mean? Man, you get up in there, you get down. And you come on out. We ain't gonna even talk about who won, lose, or draw. We just gonna talk about that you did go up in there and handle your business and get down, you know?
Now, what about a guy that he knows that he's about to get DP'd and he doesn't pull up? Mm-hmm. He runs from the DP. Mm-hmm. Then what? Thanks for watching this video clip of Streets and Scholars podcast with Alex Alonso and FG. If you want to listen to the entire episode, go to your favorite podcast platform and type in Streets and Scholars. But we're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. And thanks for listening to another episode of Streets and Scholars.